Good morning, everyone. We are Group 9 from e-commerce class of Foreign Trade University. Our group had 5 members, as you can see on the slide. Today, our team would like to give a presentation about building an e-commerce presence. Our presentation has 3 main parts: planning, systematic approach, and necessary mobile website and apps for e-commerce presence. Now, let's begin with the first part, planning or preparing for your e-commerce presence building. Before you build an e-commerce presence, there are several questions or issues you must take into consideration. The first question is, what's the idea? First and foremost, you need to determine your vision. A vision is a statement of mission identification of target audience, characterization of market space, a strategic analysis, marketing metric, and development timeline. For example, Amazon's vision is to become the largest marketplace in the world, while Google it is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. The second question you must ask yourself is, where is the money? In this stage, you may need to establish a general ideas about your business and revenue models. The basic business model includes portal, retailer, content provider, transaction broker, market creator, service provider, and community provider, or social network. The basic revenue model includes advertising, subscriptions, transaction fees, sales, and affiliate revenue. It's better to apply multiple models instead of just focusing on a single one. The third question you may ask is, who and where is the target audience? These questions will help you have a clear understanding of your target customer. They may be described in demographic, behavior patterns, current consumption patterns, digital usage patterns, content creation preferences, and buyer persona. The next point you need to care about is to characterize the marketplace. Is it declining and filled with strong competitors, or emerging and having few competitors? The features of market include demographic of market and how e-commerce presence fits into the market, while the structure of the market consists of competitors and substitute products. Once you have characterized your market, you have to think about the content. The content is why your customers visit your site, and it is the most important foundation for revenue and ultimate success. There are many two kinds of content: static contents like text, images, which do not frequently change, and dynamic contents or user-generated content. Now, you may need to have a clear view about your strengths and weaknesses, and the SWOT analysis is one of the best choices for you. It not only points out your strengths, weaknesses, but also the opportunities and threats you may face up with. The next point is developing an e-commerce presence map. The below figures is an example of the roadmap to the platform and related activities you may need to consider in the e-commerce presence building process. It is very essential for you to have a rough timeline about what you could possibly be after, for example, 1 or 2 years. The project should be broken down into a small number of phases that could be completed within a specified time. And the last question you may need to ask is, how much will it cost? The expenditures have to be suitable with your budget as well as your financial condition. You should also allocate your spending into different components, such as content development software, hardware, and marketing as properly as possible.
You have developed a vision of the e-commerce presence you want to build. It's time to start thinking about how to build and implement that presence. Your second step in building an e-commerce website will be creating a plan document. One methodology is the system development life cycle, a methodology for understanding the business objectives of any system and designing an appropriate solution. Adopting it does not guarantee success, but it is far better than having no plan at all. The methodology involves 5 steps. Step 1. System analysis. In this step, You try to answer the question, what do we want this e-commerce site to do for our business? The key point is to let the business decisions drive its technology, not the result. One way to start is to identify the specific business objectives. That means capabilities you want your site to have, and then develop a list of types of information system capabilities called system functionalities and information requirements. They are the information elements that the system must produce. Step 2. System design. Now you must come up with a system design specification, a description of the main components in the system and their relationship to one another. There are two types of system design, local design and physical design. A local design includes a data flow diagram that describes the flow of information at your e-commerce site, the processing function that must be performed, and the database that will be used. Physical design will translate logical design into physical components. Step 3. Building the system. This step involves two main activities: building and hosting the system. You can begin considering how to actually build the site. You have to choose between outsource and in-house. Depending on the amount of money you are willing to spend, you can choose outsourcing. That means you will hire an outside vendor to provide the services involved in building the site. If you select to build your own site, on the positive side, you may be better able to build a site that does exactly what you want. However, the decision to build a website on your own has a number of risks. You also have to decide that you will host the site or your firm's own servers, or you will outsource the hosting to a web host provider. Most businesses choose to outsource hosting and pay a company to host their website. By agreeing to a monthly fee, the business doesn't need to worry about the technical aspects of setting up a web server and maintaining it, telecommunications links, nor with staffing needs. If you choose a vendor, make sure the vendor has the capability to grow with you. On the other hand, there are risks to hosting your own site if you are a small business, as the cost will be higher. Again, the choice depends on the amount of money you are willing to spend.
Moving on to part 4, testing. Once the system has been built and programmed, you'll have to engage in a testing process. Depending on the size of the system, this could be fairly difficult and lengthy. A complex e-commerce site can have thousands of pathways through the site, each of which must be documented and then tested. There are 5 forms of testing: unit testing, system testing, acceptance testing, A/B testing, and multivariate testing. 5. Implementation and maintenance. When the beginning of a process is over, the operational life of a system is just beginning. Systems break down for a variety of reasons, most of them unpredictable. Therefore, they need continual checking, testing, and repair. In general, the annual system maintenance cost will roughly parallel with the development cost. However, you can very rapidly fluctuate and lose customer with a dysfunctional site because the web is a very competitive environment. Therefore, system maintenance is vital. On the other hand, software and hardware constitute the infrastructure of an e-commerce presence. Firstly, choosing software. Prior to the development of e-commerce, websites simply delivered web pages to users who were making requests through their browser for HTML pages. Website software consists of a server computer running basic web server software. This arrangement is called a single-tier system architecture. However, the development of e-commerce required a great deal more interactive functionality. This kind of extended functionality required the development of web application servers and a multi-tier system architecture to handle the processing loads. Here are some basic web server software functionality and the various types of web application servers. Web server software. All e-commerce sites require basic web server software to answer requests from customers for HTML and XML pages. Basic functionality of the web servers. Site management tool. Verify that links on pages are still valid and also identified orphan files. They are essential if you want to keep your site working and understand how well it is working. A site management tool can quickly report on potential problems and errors that users may encounter. For example, this message might be shown on the website when some problems happened. The messages for error page does not exist. Dynamic page generation tool. One of the most important innovations in website operation has been the development of dynamic page generation tools. E-commerce sites are just like real markets. They're dynamic. The dynamic and complex nature of e-commerce sites requires a number of specialized software applications. Dynamic page generation gives e-commerce several significant capabilities that generate cost and profitability advantages over traditional commerce. Lowers menu cost, permits as a aligned market segmentation, enable the use of a content management system, CMS. Application servers. Web application servers are software programs that provide the specific business functionality required of a website. Application servers are a middleware software that connects traditional corporate system to the customer and provides the functionality needed to conduct e-commerce. E-commerce merchant server software provides the basic functionality needed for online sales, including an online catalog, order taking via an online shopping cart, and online credit card processing. E-commerce software platform is purchasing a merchant server software package is easier, faster, and more cost-effective than building your site from a collection of disparate software applications. So, how do you choose the right one? As you can see on the screen, the following are some of the key factors to consider.
We have listened about choosing software, so how about the hardware? The hardware platform refers to all the underlying computing equipment that the system uses to achieve its e-commerce functionality. Your objective is to have enough platform capacity to meet peak demand, but not so much platform that you are wasting money. You will need to understand the various factors that affect the speed, capacity, and scalability of an e-commerce site. The most important factor affecting the speed of your site is the demand that customers put on the site. Demand on a website is fairly complex and depends primarily on the type of site you are operating. Once you estimate the likely demand on your site, you will need to consider how to scale up your site to meet demand. There are 3 steps you can take to meet the demands for service at your site. Scale hardware vertically, scale hardware horizontally, and/or improve the processing architecture of the site. In order to achieve the business capabilities, you will need to be aware of some design guidelines and additional software tools that can cost-effectively achieve the required business functionality. First is about website design. From a business manager's perspective, there are certain design objectives you must communicate to your website designers to let them know how you will evaluate their work.
A website that annoys customers runs the risk of losing the customer forever. Second, tools for search engine optimization. A website is only as valuable from a business perspective as the number of people who visit. The first stop for most customers looking for a product or service is to start with a search engine. The higher you are on the search engine pages, the more traffic you will receive. Some basic ideas that help you get to page 1 in the natural search listings include get link up, offer expertise, and buy ads. Tools for interactivity and active content are also important. The more interactive a website is, the more effective it will be in generating sales and encouraging return visitors. There are some commonly used software tools for achieving high levels of site interactivity, such as CGI, ASP, JSP, and so on.
So the last part of our presentation is about the mobile website and apps. Today, building a website is just one part of developing an e-commerce presence. Over 75% of all internet users access the web at least part of the time from mobile devices. Businesses today need to develop mobile websites and mobile web apps, native app or hybrid apps in order to interact with customers, suppliers, and employees. And there are different kinds of e-commerce platforms. The first platform is mobile website. It is the version of a regular website that is scaled down in content and navigation so that the user can find what they want and move quickly to a decision or purchase. Generally, mobile websites operate more slowly than traditional websites viewed on a desktop computer connected to broadband official network. Most large firms today have mobile websites. The second platform is mobile web app. It is the application built to run on the mobile web browser built into a smartphone or tablet computer. Mobile web apps are specially designed for mobile platform in terms of screen size, finger navigation, and graphical simplicity. Mobile web apps can support complex interaction using games and rich media, perform real-time on-the-fly calculation, and can be geosensitive using the smartphone built-in GPS function. Mobile web apps typically operate faster than mobile websites but not as fast as native apps. And the third platform is native app. It is an application designed specially to operate using the mobile device, hardware, and operating system. The standalone program can connect to the internet to download and upload data and can operate on the data even when not connected to the internet. And the third one is the hybrid app. Developers are combining elements of native apps and mobile web apps into hybrid apps. A hybrid app has many of the features of both native app and mobile web apps. So, what is the right present for your firm? To make decisions, you won't have to go through the same kind of system analysis that we once used earlier. And now we will move to planning and building a mobile presence part. The first part is about the planning. The first step is to identify the business objective you are trying to achieve. Once you have a clear sense of business objective, you will be able to describe the kind of system functionality that is needed and specify the information requirements for your mobile presence. And the second part is to build a mobile presence. After you have identified the business objective, system functionality, and information requirement, now is the time to consider which to develop: a mobile website, a mobile web apps, or a native app. For instance, if your objective is branding or building community, a native app might be the best choice because it enables you to deliver a rich, interactive, an immersive experience that can strengthen the emotional connection with the brand. However, if your objective, on the other hand, is to create broad awareness, provide specific information on particular products, or drive sales, then the mobile website or mobile web app makes more sense because it is relatively easy and inexpensive to simplify public information to the mobile web, and consumers are still most comfortable completing transactions on the web. And now we will move to the design consideration. There are three trends. The first trend is mobile first design. Mobile presence has become so important that it is fueling a growing chance to flip the traditional e-commerce development process and begin instead with development of a mobile presence rather than a desktop website, known as mobile first design. Mobile first design has several advantages. Instead of creating a full-feature design for a desktop website that it then needs to be scaled back, mobile first design focuses on creating the best possible experience given the mobile platform constraint and then adding back elements for the desktop platform, progressively enhancing the functionality of the site. The second trend is responsive web design. Tools and design techniques make it possible to design a website that automatically adjusts its layout and display according to the screen resolution of the device on which it is being viewed, whether desktop, tablet, or smartphone. And the third trend is adaptive web design, server-side technique that detects the attributes of the device, making the request and using the predefined template based on device screen size along with CSS and JavaScript, loads a version of a site that is optimized for a device. The last part is about the performance and cost consideration. About the mobile website, it is the least expensive path to design a website to create a smartphone-friendly mobile site. It's also lighten up the amount of data you send. However, you cannot expect customers to happily enter long string of number or text characters. And about the mobile web apps, it requires more effort and cost than developing a mobile website. However, it also provides better graphics, more interactivity, and faster local calculation. And the last one is native app. It is the most expensive part to a mobile presence. It also requires more programming expertise. However, the interaction between your brand and customer is effortless and efficient. So that is the end of our presentation. If you have any question or comment, please write down in the comment section and we will try our best to answer all of them. Thank you for listening and hope you like our presentation.